When you make a trade on Ethereum today, you have to map out every exact step of the process yourself. You specify the decentralized exchange, the precise routing path, the gas limits, and the slippage tolerance, manually coding the exact execution plan of your transaction. Before any of those instructions are executed, they are sent to the mempool. The mempool is a mandatory public waiting room where pending transactions sit exposed before they are officially added to the blockchain. Because this waiting room is completely transparent, specialized bots and validators constantly scan the pending data packets, searching for large or profitable trades. They read your exact route and mathematically calculate how to exploit it. By paying a slightly higher network fee, they place their own orders directly in front of and behind yours. This practice, known as maximal extractable value, or MEV, siphons capital away from your trade and straight into their pockets. Ethereum's transparent design guarantees this outcome. By forcing users to broadcast their entire execution plan to the public, the system gives block builders a permanent structural advantage over the people actually using the network. Anoma takes a different approach by replacing traditional transactions with intents. An intent is a declarative message where you only state the specific end state you want, like trading one token for another, without specifying the computational steps required to make it happen. This shifts the burden of execution to a new class of professional actors called solvers. Their sole job is to ingest the intents broadcast by users, find the necessary liquidity, and discover the optimal counterparty. But this creates an immediate paradox. If the user's data must be hidden to prevent MEV exploitation, how does a solver match a buyer and a seller without actually seeing what they are trading? If the system leaves the intent exposed, it hasn't solved the problem. It has simply taken the predatory advantage away from the block builders and handed it directly to the solvers. The solution starts with information flow control. Instead of forcing actions to be publicly visible by default, Anoma treats privacy as a programmable choice tailored to the specific needs of the user. This is handled by the Taiga state model. Taiga is a unified execution environment that replaces the single, fully public ledger found on Ethereum with a system capable of handling multiple states at once. Within Taiga, transparent, shielded, and fully private states operate simultaneously. A user can interact across any of these zones, and the network can verify the validity of those interactions without breaking the underlying consensus mechanism. Privacy is no longer an all-or-nothing risk baked into the base layer. It is a highly customizable dial controlled exclusively by the user. When a user submits an intent, the system applies dynamic confidentiality. The intent is heavily encrypted into a sealed package before it ever touches the peer-to-peer gossip network. Attached to the outside of this package is a zero-knowledge proof. A zero-knowledge proof is a cryptographic method that allows one party to prove a statement is true without revealing any underlying information about the statement itself. This proof confirms to the network that the user possesses the required funds and that the proposed trade is valid. It does this while keeping the user's account balance, identity, and the specific assets involved completely hidden. The package then enters a blind auction. Solvers interact with the encrypted blob, knowing only that a mathematically verified intent exists inside. Because they cannot see the details of the trade, solvers must commit to an execution path and a price based entirely on the external proof. They have to offer their best terms while completely ignorant of how lucrative the hidden assets might be. The decryption keys are only released and the atomic settlement executed after the network has finalized the order. The window for a predatory bot to read the data and jump in front of the trade never opens. The architecture physically prevents information asymmetry. Solvers are mathematically forced into fair competition, successfully discovering a coincidence of wants entirely in the dark. To bring this architecture to existing networks, Anoma utilizes protocol adapters. These smart contracts allow Anoma to function as an operating system deployed on top of Ethereum. By deploying its resource machine through these adapters, Anoma introduces native intents and programmable privacy to EVM-compatible chains. This creates an immediate dual benefit. Users gain strict privacy guarantees and MEV protection without having to sacrifice access to Ethereum's massive pool of established liquidity. You do not have to abandon the Ethereum ecosystem to protect your trades. Anoma retrofits the EVM to correct its deepest architectural flaw. Up until now, users faced a rigid binary. You could accept total public exposure on a transparent ledger or route your assets through highly suspicious, isolated crypto mixers. Programmable privacy provides granular control that works for everyone. It satisfies the retail user's need to execute trades without being front-run, and it meets the strict requirements of institutional capital to verify compliance without broadcasting their strategies to the broader market. By blinding the network infrastructure itself, Anoma breaks the predatory power dynamics of the mempool. It takes control away from the block builders and hands absolute data sovereignty back to the human being initiating the trade.